To buy a mutual fund, you have to click here. You can make an order here. This one is the PhilAm Bond Fund. I can just put in 5,000. Okay, your order will process next trading day. Enter your password and order received. You can view your existing orders here. You can see your portfolio here if you have any. If you have any questions on the details that you're seeing here, feel free to ask me in the questions below. I'll answer as soon as I see them. Or you can message me directly from the Facebook group. I think that's easier to see there. Take a look at research. It can show you things about when you make this purchase. This research tab is very important. You would see the mutual funds grouped by their type of fund. If it's a bond fund, if it's a money market fund, a balance, which is stocks and bonds, equity fund, which is more of stocks, and equity index fund, which is based on a stock index. You can check their net asset value per share. You can also see here the fund performance for 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. You can check their standard deviation and Sharpe ratio, which is a measure of variation. You can check their management fee, expense ratio, their tracking error, which is what they're expected to align to. So that's also a measure of variance from a particular index. And fund size, how much money is there. Since inception is how much it has grown. So inception is just birth date. Mutual fund product guide is very useful because it can show you the inception date, the minimum investment. Minimum investment is the buy-in to get into the game. Additional placements are how much you need to buy for each bet. That's the minimum. And the minimum holding period is a time you have to keep the money with them. Redemption statement is how much time you need to get the money back. Dealing cutoff is, this is like a bank cutoff time. Any transaction past this will enter the following day. Management fee is what they use to pay their employees. Front end load, well, it's usually 0 here. An early redemption fee, if you redeem the fund earlier, you will have this much penalty. You can also go back to the performance table and click on a particular fund. When you click on a particular fund, it will give the fund information and the fund code. You can click on the fund code on the left of that to see the other fund codes. You can also see the performance here of a particular fund. There are very interesting stuff here, just like a risk rating. You can also check their fund fact sheet, ratio of portfolio mix. Let's take a look at the call bond summary. This is like their summary of the fund that I'm investing in, their asset allocation, definitions, holdings, their historical performance. The call fund fact sheet is a good way to summarize. Fund fact sheet gives you more information. It shows the fund manager who's managing this. This is BPI. Some of it is repetitive. This part is very important for me because it tells me what risks. If you lose money, you lost it. How much far they're off from their index. It also has their outlook and strategy at the bottom, so that's pretty good. So this was something I always take a look at when reviewing a particular stock or a company, is their market review. Very particular on what they're saying here. Again, this could be geopolitical or things that do not reflect on the numbers. This is the front prospectus. When you're making an informed decision, buying a mutual fund, you have to look at the label, and the prospectus is just like the label. So this is not the red herring or the preliminary prospectus, but this is probably the final prospectus. So you read through this. Well, that's pretty normal stuff. So technically, you don't have to pay attention to some of these, like how to redeem, because you are using a broker to take care of that, and you just order from the brokerage site like Call Financial. So I'm looking at who owns this. These are the people that if I don't like their business practices, I don't invest in them. You could be funding something bad already, but you just don't know it. I take a look at who these people are. These are the directors and executive officers. I'm going to take a look at them. So Francisco M. Ortigas III, Victor Lim. That's not him. Victor Lim. He seems to be with the Japanese. Jamie Laya. Okay, Jamie Laya. Jamie C. Laya. Secretary of the Budget Rule. Okay, so he's like smart guy. Central Bank. 1939, 1975, 1981. Okay, let's look at Buenvenido. Buenvenido A. Tan. So you generally want to check the track record of who started this. Okay, this was when it started. So there is a different current set of people probably managing this, or they shuffled their people, or somebody else is at the helm, but this is what they had when they opened this fund at its inception. You might want to look up some key search definitions, some key words when you're looking at this. So one of the things I do is I look for the school, which schools they're related to. I'll show you what I do in a bit here. This is, okay, some of them are University of the Philippines. Yeah, look at how many Ateneo. All right, so typically you want to spend some time to go over this to see who's their legal counsel, etc. Basically, that's what I look at when I try to review a mutual fund if I'm going to buy. I always compare it to inflation. So I usually save an inflation bookmark to see how it's performing and how much the inflation is, because the growth of a mutual fund should be relatively greater than this and greater than how much they're charging for in the bond management fee. I hope you guys learned something from me today about mutual funds and how to buy it and what I look at. I'd like to know how you look at a mutual fund. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. Consider liking and subscribing the Business Reviews vlog. See you in the next video.